Hi, I'm Gregory Hodgson here at the 2018 Canadian Science Policy Conference, and I've been joined by Alok, Kanti,
Hi,
the
good morning.
CEO of Bayer Incorporated in Canada. Thanks for joining me.
Pleasure.
So I wanted to ask you, everyone's heard of Bayer. You're a major player in the pharmaceuticals and obviously the inventor of aspirin. But Bayer as a company is so much more. Can you start by telling us a little bit more about Bayer in Canada?
Yeah, thank you for that. Bayer's been in Canada for over 80 years. And here we also do reflect Canadian values and benefits, so to speak. We have about 55% of our 1,200 strong workforce are ladies. We did an informal survey at our Matheson offices, and we discovered that the whole group together can speak about 26 different languages, And our over 80-year presence also indicates that we've been here longer than iconic Canadian brands like Tim Hortons. So that's on the people side, and these people are really working towards three divisions or three product groups. The first is crop. So in crop, we actually manufacture seeds. We provide crop protection products, and we provide platforms for digital innovation. So we are a leader in this segment. The second segment that we operate in is pharmaceuticals. And here we have a wide range of products which treat cardiovascular disease, cancer, provide contraceptive options, and also treat some very rare diseases. And the third segment that we operate in is consumer health. Here, the brands are the brands that you know about. So besides aspirin, we have Claritin, Dr. Scholl's, Arius, Coppertone. I'm sure every Canadian has one brand of Bayer somewhere in the house. And the third area that we work in Canada is really in investing in innovation. So over the last 5 years, actually in Canada, we've invested about $500 million in innovation, research, and development. A good example would be Blue Rock. This is a joint venture between Bayer and Versant Ventures. It's partly based out of UFT or down in Toronto and invests in stem cell research. This was the largest investment in stem cell research ever in the world. A second investment that we say made in Canada would be a famous trial called Compass, which actually showed significant benefit of a certain product. This was a trial run out of Canada involving 27,000 patients, over 600 sites globally, and operations across the world. So we as a company, I think, like to be a part of the fabric of Canada. We have a product range that is well accepted in Canada across crop, pharmaceuticals, and consumer health, and we believe in investing in the innovation infrastructure in Canada.
So I think in your response, I really heard a common theme relating to the life sciences. That's an area that's garnered a significant amount of attention across Canada, and it's really something that we think has a lot of potential for Canada moving forward, but we still tend to lag behind in terms of economic growth in the life sciences relative to other markets such as the US, such as Europe, such as China. And I wonder, related to Canada's plan for innovation, what do you think is a good strategy for bringing the life sciences forward?
Yeah, so firstly, we got to recognize the realities of the situation, right? So Canada has slipped from being, say, about 20 years ago, being a top 5 innovator company, to today being about 15th to 20th, right? And we have to recognize that Canada is attached at the hip to the US. So considering these things, Canada has to define a strategy that is differentiated and sustainable. This would include components of different technologies where Canada can actually compete on. Now let me go back to the Blue Rock example to kind of highlight this, a success story around this. The government had invests in UFT, had invested in the center CCRM, the Center for Regenerative Medicine, to actually build up infrastructure and technologies in stem cell research. The Rob McEwen Foundation further sponsored projects in this area of stem cell research. And subsequently, at a particular point in time, a company like us, along with Versant Ventures, came in to invest $250 million to accelerate this research. So here you see a good example that over a period of time, government, philanthropy, private investment, and large commercial companies like us came together to actually bring a very, very important technology forward. And Canada was chosen as one of the centers because there was a distinct competitive advantage in operating out of Canada.
So clearly a lot of big issues lying ahead.
Yeah.
Whether it's providing health services and supporting a rapidly growing seniors population that have less access to adequate health resources, or the rapidly expanding global population, and providing food for the global population with less arable land. What do you think in terms of the life sciences should be top of mind in terms of a strategy going forward?
In strategy, I think when you're looking at it from a Canadian perspective, you would say in which technological area can Canada gain a sustainable competitive advantage? And then policy around every department of the government, the private sector, and the private, say, financing sector should kind of merge together towards enhancing this technology per se. I don't think Canada, given its scale, can actually win in every technology. If you look at the scale of things in the US alone, let alone Beijing or Berlin, Canada needs to choose its areas of differentiation, the technologies we will invest in, and therefore become a global player in these technologies. The issues of the world are large, right? Nutrition, health, self-care, and Canada needs to find the areas in which it wants to play in and have a sustained strategy to invest in these areas.
So finally, I'd just like to ask you then, in your opinion, what is the greatest value of the Canadian Science Policy Conference?
Yeah, so I find, again, the first step in getting a strategy together, right, getting a concept together, is that the various sectors of society speak with each other. The policymakers, the governments, they have significant influence through their ability to leverage tax dollars and incentives. The scientists through their knowledge bases in the various universities, the early startup firms, and also regular citizens who would kind of determine the acceptance of a particular technology. It's only when these people come together you get a strategy that is sustainable, that will last in the longer term. And I feel that this forum provides for that. So in as much as a lot needs to get done, this forum is actually a good starting point for generating the ideas or starting that conversation that is required.
That's really great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. I really enjoyed meeting you.
Same here. Thank you.
And enjoy the conference.
Thank you.